First Contact and Deception. The Nexus Dominion's scout vessel emerged from quantum space at the edge of Sol's Kuiper belt, its advanced sensors immediately beginning their routine survey of yet another primitive system. Commander Vaxter, a tall crystalline being whose translucent body pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, stood at the observation deck. His species, the Lumini, had led the Dominion for over 10 millennia, guiding lesser races toward what they considered proper civilization. Another barbarian world. Second observer Renka clicked through her mandibles, her compound eyes processing the initial data streams. Primitive nuclear technology, confined to their planet and nearest satellite. Internal conflicts still prevalent. Classification. Development Stage 2. Vaxter's crystalline form flickered with amusement. The Dominion's classification system was absolute. Any species below Stage 5 was considered little more than clever animals. Earth, with its crude rockets and fossil fuel dependency, barely registered as sentient by their standards. But deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility unknown even to most of Earth's governments, Dr. Sarah Chen watched the alien vessel's arrival on quantum detection arrays that shouldn't exist for another century by the Dominion's estimates. She smiled, her dark eyes reflecting the holographic display showing the scout ship's position. "They're right on schedule," she murmured, sending a encrypted quantum burst transmission to the other hidden facilities across the globe. Operation Silent Watch is now active. For 30 years, humanity had known they weren't alone. A crashed scout ship in the Atacama Desert had given them their first glimpse of what awaited in the stars. And it wasn't friendly. The recovered quantum computer cores had revealed the Dominion's true nature, a massive confederation of species that saw themselves as the galaxy's shepherds, uplifting primitive races through forced integration, or, if they resisted, subjugation. The Global Defense Initiative, formed in secret by a coalition of Earth's major powers, had worked tirelessly to prepare for this moment. While the world's governments maintained a facade of division and technological stagnation, underground cities and orbital shipyards, hidden by quantum cloaking fields, produced weapons and ships that would have seemed impossible by public standards. Director Chen, a voice called from the facility's quantum AI core, "The Dominion vessel is deploying atmospheric probes. Should we allow them to penetrate our quantum masking field?" Sarah considered for a moment. "Let them see exactly what they expect to see, ARIA. Keep our defensive grid masked, but allow their probes to observe our public infrastructure. Let them underestimate us." The AI complied, adjusting the quantum fields to selectively reveal Earth's primitive surface while keeping humanity's true technological achievements hidden. Above, Vaxter watched with growing disinterest as his probes confirmed what the initial scan suggested: a backward world struggling with climate change, political divisions, and primitive space exploration. "Prepare the standard observation protocols," he ordered. "We'll monitor them for the next solar cycle before making contact. Perhaps in a few centuries, they'll be ready for proper integration into the Dominion." As the scout ship settled into its observation position, hidden beneath advanced stealth fields, Sarah Chen walked through the vast underground shipyard beneath the Pacific. Around her, quantum-powered vessels that rivaled anything in the Dominion's fleet waited in silence. Engineers and crew members prepared for the day the Dominion would realize their mistake. The day they would learn that humanity had turned their own crash technology against them. "They think they're watching us," Sarah said to her assembled command staff, "but we've been watching them for decades. Let them think we're primitive. Let them underestimate us. Because when they finally decide to make their move," she gestured to the massive fleet behind her, "they'll learn that humanity isn't as helpless as they think." In orbit, Vaxter's vessel continued its surveillance, its crew confident in their technological superiority. They never noticed the quantum-shifted sensors studying their every move, or the human ships passing ghost-like through their detection fields. Earth would play the part of the primitive world, letting the Dominion's arrogance blind them to the truth that humanity had already surpassed many of their technological achievements through sheer determination and the desperate drive to survive. The game of deception had begun, and humanity was playing for keeps. Shadow Protocol. Admiral James Chen stood in the heart of Luna Base Alpha, watching holographic displays track the movements of 3 more Dominion observation vessels that had joined the first. 6 months had passed since their initial arrival, and with each passing day, humanity's hidden strength grew. "They've established a permanent observation post on Mars," reported Captain Maya Rodriguez, her dark uniform bearing the discreet insignia of the Shadow Fleet. "Still no indication they've detected our quantum arrays or the Phobos shipyards." The ambient light from Earth cast a pale blue glow across the command center's crystalline walls, technology reverse-engineered from the crashed scout ship. But humanity hadn't simply copied the Dominion's technology. They'd improved it. Where the Dominion relied on pure quantum mechanics, human engineers had created a hybrid system that merged quantum computing with biological neural networks, creating something entirely new. "Show me the latest production numbers," James ordered, his weathered face reflecting decades of preparation for this moment. The holographic display shifted, revealing streams of data from facilities hidden across the solar system. The numbers were impressive: 500 stealth cruisers, 200 carrier vessels, and thousands of AI-driven fighter craft, all hidden beneath quantum fields that bent both light and reality itself. But their greatest achievement hung in synchronized orbit around Jupiter. The Titans, 3 massive battleships that represented the peak of human military engineering, each powered by artificial quantum singularities. "Sir," Aria's voice emanated from the command center speakers, "we've detected unusual activity from the Dominion vessels. They're concentrating their scans on our major population centers." James shared a knowing look with Maya. "They're getting ready to make their move. How are the evacuation protocols coming along?" "Phase 1 is complete," Maya replied, pulling up another holographic display. 80% of Earth's critical infrastructure and 30% of the civilian population have been relocated to the underground arcologies. The surface maintains appearances with quantum projections and automated systems. The Shadow Protocol had been decades in the making. While the Dominion watched Earth's cities, the real centers of human civilization had moved underground or into orbital habitats, all hidden from prying eyes. The surface world had become an elaborate stage, maintained to fool their observers. In a quantum-shielded chamber deep beneath the Mariana Trench, Dr. Elena Santos monitored the latest tests of humanity's secret weapon, the quantum mesh. Unlike traditional shields or weapons, the mesh could rewrite the basic laws of physics within a localized area. In theory, it could render Dominion weapons useless by changing the fundamental constants their technology relied upon. "Test sequence complete," Elena announced over the quantum-encrypted channel. The mesh successfully altered quantum states within the test volume. "We're ready for field deployment." James nodded, watching as another hologram showed the locations of mesh generators hidden throughout the solar system. "Have we completed the installation around all major population centers?" "Affirmative," Maya confirmed. "The moment the Dominion makes their move, we can activate the entire network. Their weapons will be about as effective as throwing rocks." But humanity's preparations went beyond mere defense. In laboratories across Earth and Mars, scientists had pushed the boundaries of human understanding, creating technologies that the Dominion had never conceived of. They'd learned to manipulate gravity itself, developed consciousness transfer systems, and even begun experiments with time dilation fields. "Sir," ARIA interrupted, "I'm detecting increased quantum communications between the Dominion vessels. Based on their encryption patterns, they're receiving new orders from their command structure." James straightened his uniform. "This is it, people. They've probably decided we're worth uplifting now." His voice carried a hint of dark amusement. "Maintain surface appearances. Let's see how long it takes them to realize they're not dealing with the primitive species they think we are." In orbit, the Dominion ships continued their observation, their crews confident in their absolute technological superiority. They never noticed the quantum shadows that moved between their vessels. human stealth ships conducting final reconnaissance missions. They didn't detect the massive energy signatures of humanity's hidden fleet, masked by technology that their sensors couldn't even theoretically detect. As the Dominion prepared to reveal themselves to what they thought was a helpless, primitive world, humanity's real civilization waited in the shadows. Years of deception, preparation, and technological advancement were about to pay off. The Dominion would learn, too late, that underestimating humanity had been their greatest mistake. The Shadow Protocol was about to enter its final phase, and the galaxy would never be the same. The ultimatum. The skies above Earth's major cities darkened as the Dominion's diplomatic fleet dropped their stealth fields. Massive ships, their crystalline hulls refracting sunlight in dazzling patterns, positioned themselves in formation, a calculated display of overwhelming power meant to awe and intimidate the primitive humans below. Supreme Delegate Zixtal stood aboard the flagship Eternal Light, his crystalline form towering over his subordinates. The Dominion had performed this ceremony thousands of times across the galaxy. First, demonstrate overwhelming force. Then, offer the choice that wasn't really a choice. Join the Dominion willingly or be forced into compliance. "Begin the transmission," he commanded, his voice resonating through the ship's quantum communication system. "Let us enlighten another primitive species." On Earth's surface, billions watched as their screens were overridden by the Dominion's broadcast. Zixtal's imposing form appeared, his crystalline body pulsing with patterns that conveyed authority and power to those who could read them. "People of Earth," his translated voice boomed, "we are the Nexus Dominion, guardians of civilized space and shepherds of developing worlds. We have watched your progress, witnessed your struggles, and come to offer you salvation from your primitive existence." In the hidden command center beneath Geneva, General Sarah Martinez watched the broadcast with carefully controlled amusement. Around her, the real leaders of Earth's nations sat in silence, their public counterparts on the surface merely quantum-generated avatars maintaining humanity's deception. "How generous of them," she murmured, earning quiet chuckles from her colleagues. Zixtal continued his rehearsed speech. "You have 48 of your Earth hours to accept our guidance. Your world will be reorganized under Dominion authority. Your technologies will be upgraded. Your societies will be restructured. This is not a negotiation. It is salvation. Resistance would be." He paused for effect. Unfortunate. The transmission ended, leaving Earth's public in apparent panic. Social media exploded with fear and confusion, all of it carefully orchestrated by AI systems to maintain the illusion of a frightened primitive world. Deep beneath the Pacific, Admiral James Chen addressed the combined fleet commanders. "The Dominion has played their hand exactly as we predicted. Their arrogance blinds them to any possibility that we could resist. Are all systems ready?" "Quantum mesh is online and calibrated," Dr. Santos reported. "The moment they try to use their weapons, they'll find themselves dealing with some very different laws of physics." "Shadow Fleet is in position," Captain Rodriguez added. 500 ships hidden in the quantum shadows between their fleet elements. They still haven't detected a single one. James nodded, his expression grim. "And the Titans?" "All 3 vessels report ready, Admiral," Araya confirmed. "Jupiter's magnetic field continues to mask their power signatures perfectly." In orbit, the Dominion fleet waited confidently. Their scans showed exactly what they expected: panic, chaos, and primitive attempts at military mobilization. Surface nations pointed nuclear weapons at the ships above, weapons that would be useless against Dominion shields. Zixtal observed Earth's reactions with satisfaction. "Prepare integration protocols," he ordered. "When their deadline expires, we'll need to demonstrate our power. Perhaps destroying one of their smaller cities will convince them of the futility of resistance. But in the quantum-shielded facilities across Earth and the solar system, humanity's real military prepared for battle." Ships' crews ran final checks on systems the Dominion didn't know existed. Scientists calibrated weapons that would rewrite the rules of engagement, And in every hidden base and bunker, soldiers and pilots waited for the signal to reveal humanity's true face to their would-be conquerors. 46 hours until their deadline, James announced to his commanders. Let them think we're scrambling in panic. Let them believe their show of force has us cowering. Because in 46 hours, he smiled, an expression that held no warmth, they're going to learn that humanity doesn't bow to bullies, no matter how advanced they think they are. The Dominion fleet hung in orbit like a sword over humanity's head, their crews confident in their absolute superiority. They never noticed the quantum shadows moving between their ships, never detected the massive energy signatures gathering at the edge of the solar system, never realized that their ultimatum had just triggered their own downfall. In 46 hours, the galaxy would learn a valuable lesson about underestimating humanity, and the Dominion would learn that sometimes the most dangerous predator is the one that plays prey. Operation Phantom Dawn. As the Dominion's deadline approached its final hour, Zixtal prepared to demonstrate his fleet's power. He had chosen a small coastal city for their example, regrettable but necessary to show these primitives the futility of resistance. Weapons systems charge, his weapons officer reported. Target locked on the human settlement designated Brighton. But in the quantum shadows of space, Admiral Chen gave the order that would change everything. Operation Phantom Dawn is now active. Disable their weapons. In an instant, the quantum mesh activated. Invisible fields of altered physics expanded outward, encompassing the Dominion fleet. On their bridges, alarm systems screamed as weapons systems suddenly failed, quantum reactors sputtered, and shield generators produced nothing but sparks. What's happening? Zixtal demanded, his crystalline form pulsing with agitation. Why aren't our weapons responding? Then, like ghosts materializing from nothing, humanity's fleet revealed itself. 500 ships, their black hulls absorbing light rather than reflecting it, appeared between and around the Dominion vessels. Their designs were alien even to the Dominion. Angular, predatory, and utterly unlike the crystalline aesthetics of civilized space. This is Admiral James Chen of the Earth Defense Fleet. His voice boomed across all frequencies. Your weapons are disabled. Your shields are down. Your engines are next. Surrender or face the consequences of your arrogance. Zixtal's response was predictable. How dare you? We are the Dominion. We cannot be defeated by primitives. He ordered his fleet to fire anyway, but their weapons remained dead, the altered physics around them rendering their technology useless. Then the Titans arrived. 3 massive warships emerged from quantum space near Jupiter, each one nearly the size of the Dominion's flagship. Their arrival sent shockwaves through the quantum fabric of space itself, a display of power that made even the Dominion's most advanced sensors scream in protest. Impossible. Zixtal's science officer exclaimed. Their technology, it's beyond anything in our databases. Captain Rodriguez's voice cut through their confusion. You had years to study us, years to recognize that we might be more than we appeared. Instead, your arrogance blinded you. Now you face the consequences. The battle that followed was brutally one-sided. Human ships, their hybrid quantum neural systems adapting instantly to Dominion tactics, struck with precision and power. Where the Dominion attempted to return fire, they found their weapons useless within the quantum mesh. Where they tried to retreat, they found their engines failing. From his command center on the lead Titan, James watched as the Dominion fleet was systematically disabled, not destroyed. Humanity had chosen to show mercy, if only to prove they were better than their would-be conquerors. All Dominion vessels have been immobilized, AIA reported. Quantum mesh is holding stable. No casualties on either side. James nodded with satisfaction. Open a channel to Supreme Delegate Zixtal. The crystalline being appeared on the quantum display, his form showing signs of stress. James spoke clearly and firmly. Your fleet is disabled. Your weapons are useless. Your choice now is simple. Surrender and leave our solar system, or be destroyed. Unlike you, we're giving you a real choice. How? Zixtal demanded. How did you hide all this from us? Because you saw what you expected to see, Dr. Santos replied, joining the transmission. Your arrogance was your weakness. While you watched our surface, our real civilization thrived in the shadows. We took your crashed scout ship's technology and improved it. We prepared for this day, knowing beings like you would eventually come. The defeat of the Dominion fleet took less than an hour. As human ships kept their weapons trained on the disabled vessels, Zixtal was forced to transmit his surrender. The mighty Dominion, which had never known defeat, had been humbled by a species they had dismissed as primitive. As the disabled Dominion ships were escorted to the edge of the solar system, James addressed his fleet. Today, we've shown the galaxy that humanity will not be underestimated. We've proven that intelligence, innovation, and determination can overcome any technological gap. Let this be a lesson to any other power that thinks to test us. Earth is not to be trifled with. The stars watched silently as the Dominion fleet retreated, their crystal ships dimmed with shame. Behind them, Earth's fleet stood guard, a testament to human ingenuity and the power of patience. The age of hiding was over. Humanity was ready to take its place among the stars, not as subjects, but as equals. And in the darkness between worlds, other species who had long chafed under Dominion rule began to wonder, if Earth could do this, what else was possible? New dawn. 3 months after the Dominion's defeat, Earth's true face emerged from the shadows. The underground cities rose to the surface, their quantum-engineered architecture defying conventional physics. Orbital habitats decloaked around Earth and Mars, revealing the true extent of human civilization. The age of deception was over. In the newly constructed Unity Station, floating in high Earth orbit, Admiral Chen prepared to meet with representatives from across the galaxy. The Dominion's humiliation had sent shockwaves through civilized space, and dozens of species had requested diplomatic contact with humanity. The Proxima delegation has arrived, Captain Rodriguez reported, now wearing the formal diplomatic uniform of the Earth Defense Force. And you won't believe who's leading it. Zixtal entered the chamber, his crystalline form notably dimmer than during their first encounter. He was no longer Supreme Delegate. The Dominion Council had demoted him after his defeat. But his presence here, as a diplomatic envoy, spoke volumes about how the galaxy's power dynamics had shifted. Admiral Chen. Zixtal's voice carried none of its former arrogance. My government sends greetings. And apologies. James nodded, keeping his expression neutral. Apologies accepted. Former Supreme Delegate. Please, join us. We have much to discuss about the future. The meeting chamber filled with representatives from 30 different species, many of whom had suffered under Dominion rule. Among them were the Arcturians, silicon-based beings who had secretly aided Earth's technological development, and the Zenth, a species that had faced integration before humanity's victory inspired their successful rebellion. Dr. Santos presented humanity's proposal. We call it the Stellar Concordat, an alliance of equals, where technological advancement is shared, not imposed, where diversity is celebrated, not suppressed. We invite all species, including the Dominion, to join, as partners, not rulers. The quantum displays showed the proposed structure, a democratic council where each species had equal representation, shared defense protocols, and collaborative research initiatives. It was everything the Dominion claimed to be, but never was. But how can we trust that humanity won't become what the Dominion was? Asked a representative from the Kith Collective, their bioluminescent tentacles swaying with concern. James stepped forward. Because we remember what it's like to be the underdog. We remember hiding in the shadows, preparing in secret, living in fear of discovery. We never want another species to feel that way again. Aria's holographic form materialized, causing murmurs among the delegates. Many had never seen an AI granted such autonomy. Earth's technological achievements weren't just about weapons, she explained. We've made breakthroughs in medicine, environmental restoration, and faster-than-light travel. All of this we offer to share, freely and equally. Over the next few hours, the foundation of a new galactic order took shape. The Dominion, humbled but not destroyed, agreed to reforms. Other species, emboldened by Earth's example, stepped forward with their own innovations that they had hidden from Dominion control. In the station's observation dome, James stood with Maya and Alina, watching Earth rotate below. "Did you ever think, when we started the Shadow Protocol 30 years ago, that it would end like this?" Alina smiled, not with a war, but with a conference. Not with conquest, but with cooperation. "It's better than we could have hoped." A quantum alert chimed softly. Maya checked the display and grinned. The first joint research team just made a breakthrough. Apparently, combining Arcturian crystal technology with our quantum neural networks has opened up entirely new possibilities for space travel. James watched as ships from a dozen species moved through Earth's orbital space, their designs as varied as their civilizations. Humanity had emerged from the shadows not just as a military power, but as a force for positive change in the galaxy. "New dawn," he mused, remembering the operation's final phase designation. "Seems almost too poetic now." As the delegates finalized the Concordat's charter, James reflected on humanity's journey. They had faced extinction, chosen deception over surrender, and emerged not just surviving, but triumphant. Yet their greatest victory wasn't in defeating the Dominion. It was in showing the galaxy a better way forward. The stars seemed brighter now, filled not with threats to hide from, but with possibilities to explore. Humanity had taken its place among the stars, not as conquerors or subjects, but as architects of a new future. The shadow game was over. The real work of building a better galaxy had begun.